Well, the rumors were true. EagleMcMahon is leaving Discmania. He still has obligations to the company through the end of the week, I believe, but I wouldn't be surprised if early next week we hear who his new sponsor will be. But until then, of course, we're going to speculate. So I'm not going to go through all of these just from Innova to Westside here on this top row. Hate to leave off RPM. We loved reviewing the Waka Waka, but unfortunately I don't think they're in this race. And as far as our tiers, we have best chance, decent chance, no chance, dead in the water. Each of these tiers can have multiple manufacturers, so keep that in mind. So first up, kind of an obvious pick, Innova, best chance. They have the money. On the MPO side, they're looking to build out a more competitive roster. Right now, it kind of feels like Calvin or bust. And that's not a problem on the FPO side, but on the MPO side, they're just not the most competitive team considering the size of the company. And then lastly, you have the connection between Innova and Discmania. A lot of overlap in molds, and so I think it would probably be the easiest transition for Eagle to make of maybe all of the manufacturers listed here. And next up, hate to say it, but I'm going to say Castoplast, no chance. I just don't know that they have the funding that would be required to pull a player like Eagle. Next up, Infinite. I'm going to say decent chance on Infinite. Highly doubt it would be a contract with just Infinite, but I could see some sort of a mixed bag deal, which we see becoming more popular these days. Like ThoughtSpace has a ton of these mixed bag deals, and so I'll give it a decent chance that Infinite could be involved in whatever deal is made. Next up, we have the MVP family. So MVP, Streamline, and Axiom are all going up to best chance. I'd say right now they're kind of the betting favorite as far as where people think they'll land. The first reason is that MVP is just on fire right now. Probably the hottest manufacturer, at least of the big manufacturers in all of disc golf. They seem like they have the money because of that. And then, of course, you have the connection with Simon and people wanting to see those two reunited once again. And they would, in fact, be the best duo in all of disc golf if it were to happen. And one interesting thing to note here is, although MVP is the biggest of the three, some people have pointed out that maybe Streamline should be the company to sign Eagle. So then you have a clear face of MVP and a clear face of Streamline, which would probably only help the overall family of companies to grow even more. So that would be interesting if he does sign with one of these three, if it ends up not being MVP for that very reason. Next up, we have Discraft. So I would say Discraft, decent chance. I'm sure they have the money, but they also have a lot of really big contracts out there right now, more so than Innova. So I feel like on the funding side, maybe they don't want to take on another contract that would cost $500,000 or $1 million per year for a company that already has multiple high-paid players. So I'm giving them a decent chance because the money's there, but to me it just doesn't seem like the right fit. For some reason, I just can't get myself to imagine Eagle on Discraft for whatever reason. Next up, we have Latitude. I'll say decent chance, actually. I'm tempted to say no chance, but I don't know. Latitude maybe has the money, and on the MPO side, they could certainly use someone like Eagle. Obviously, on the FPO side, they're covered with the best player in the world, but on the MPO side, who knows? I mean, it would, to me, be on the lower end of decent chance, but they could be a long shot pick as far as a team that's looking to sign someone of his caliber. Next up, Dynamic. I'm going to say no chance on Dynamic, ironically, after I put Latitude in decent. But Dynamic, I don't see it happening. They have the $1 million per year deal with Ricky, and I don't think they have the space for another contract like that, at least what Eagle would demand. So I'll say no chance, even though the money might be there. I just don't see it. Next up, Discmania, rest in peace, dead in the water. Prodigy, no chance. I wanted to put dead in the water, but I pretty much made that tier just for Discmania. Prodigy, I just don't see it. They have a lot of players leaving as is, and they seem to be a company, kind of as their name implies, for prodigies, for up-and-comers, And then as those up-and-comers become more desirable players in just the disc golf free agency market, they tend to leave. And we see that with Alden. We see that with Gannon. I wouldn't be surprised if Isaac Robinson leaves in the next year, whenever his contract's up. I think it's next year. And that's just kind of what happens. You don't see many players go back to Prodigy or go to Prodigy for the first time later in their career, especially someone like Eagle, who's, I would say, still in his prime. So I don't see it. That would really catch me off guard if he went to Prodigy. And lastly, Westside, I'm going to say no chance for Westside, even though I love the company. I don't know that they have the space, the finances needed to pull someone like Eagle. And right now they're rolling with Matty O for face of the company. He just signed an extension, I think 4 years. So I think they have their guy, and Eagle probably just wouldn't fit into that and would demand too much money as is. So that's my predictions. If I had to pick just one, I'm going to go with Innova. Even though I think the betting favorite's MVP, I'm going with Innova. And my long shot pick, I'll go with Latitude 64, which would probably be pretty low on the betting odds. So let me know where you think he's going to go now that it's official. And I very much look forward to reading your responses. I know this is a bit of a hot topic right now, and I'm just curious what people think. So thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.